It has been a month now that Caitlyn has been out, and we still don't know when she will be returning to the court, if she will be returning to the court this season.
The WNBA has a problem, and that problem is Caitlyn Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-poppingly bad.
The WNBA just got hit with a harsh dose of reality life without Caitlyn Clark. Ratings are free-falling faster than a Stephanie White play call in crunch time. One groin injury later, and that historic growth slogan sounds less like a rallying cry and more like something a frazzled marketing intern scribbled on a coffee-stained napkin. Now, WNBA owners aren't just uneasy, they're livid. They're staring at those tanking TV numbers wondering, is our billion-dollar dream really this fragile? The uncomfortable question, can this league survive without its one true ratings magnet? Be honest when Clark's out. Are you clearing your weekend for the other stars? Drop your take in the comments. Let's get into it.
What are you going to do about it, Kathy? If and when Caitlyn Clark returns, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to allow her to come back and get mauled? Are you going to allow her to come back and continue to get fouled? Because if we see what's going on here with the ratings, the owners have to see. And the owners are thinking to themselves, the bubble might be bursting. This bubble might be bursting, and Caitlyn Clark being out for over a month is the catalyst to the burst.
Here's the cold truth. The WNBA had exactly one guaranteed ratings formula this season. Caitlyn Clark versus Angel Reese. That's it. That was the marketing plan. Fever versus Sky. You didn't need $1 million strategy meeting or some overproduced ad campaign. Just put the league's two most talked about names on the same court 5 times and watch the cash register sing.
There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership numbers. One matchup. The Chicago Sky versus the Indiana Fever. Caitlyn Clark, Angel Reese, the league's two most noticeable names on the court at the same time. In fact, they relied so heavily on this matchup, they put these two teams against each other 5 times this season.
But here's the problem: if you don't protect your stars, they don't stick around. Clark's been sidelined for over a month with a groin injury, the kind that needs real recovery, not the slap some tape on it and hope approach the WNBA seems fine with. Reese, she's been out for a week and a half. So when this past Saturday rolled around and the league's golden matchup was missing both of its golden ticket players, the ratings cratered. We're talking the lowest numbers these two teams have seen since Clark entered the league, and not just a small dip. Rock bottom. Couldn't even match last year's already mediocre numbers. Out of sight bad.
Feel bad for Caitlyn Clark. She come out and said on Sue Bird's podcast that she's feeling the pressure of not playing in these games. And that Fever Sky viewership fell off the map. All right? A massive fall off from earlier in the year. No Caitlyn Clark, no Angel Reese. Now, Angel Reese is back injury? Question mark? Nobody's exactly sure what the hell's going on there at all.
The numbers don't lie, and they're not pretty. That first matchup this year with both Clark and Reese? Massive. We're talking 2.7 million average viewers on ABC, peaking at 3.1 million. That's 115% higher than last year's ABC average. And it wasn't just the star power, it had everything. Clark's foul drama, her triple-double, Chicago getting steamrolled, and that infamous league investigation that had everybody talking.
Essentially, Angel Reese gets the ball, Caitlyn Clark goes over, does a hard foul, commits a hard foul on Angel Reese. She falls to the ground. After that, Angel Reese gets up. She's feeling super spicy. She's charging at Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn Clark is walking away. Aaliyah Boston steps in and kind of stops Angel Reese. Courtney Vandersloot also steps in.
The second meeting held strong even without Clark primetime on CBS at 8 p.m., pulling 1.92 million viewers. Still one of the most watched regular season WNBA games since 2001, and the 8th largest in over 20 years. But the third meeting? That's when the slide began from 2.7 million to 1.9 million, then crashing to 1.5 million. That's 1.2 million people basically saying, "Nah, I'm good," and never coming back for round 3. I called it at the time that 1.5 million was the lowest Fever to Sky viewership since last year's 1.53 million. Then came Saturday's disaster. Same primetime slot, same network, same matchup, but without Clark, they didn't even hit 1.4 million. Try 1.3. That means over 500,000 viewers flat out bailed. From May 22nd to August 10th, this so-called marquee rivalry has shed 1.4 million viewers. In TV terms, that's not a slump, that's catastrophic. Networks panic over drops half that size. Advertisers panic. And you better believe Kathy Engelbert is panicking too, even if she'll never admit it out loud.
Several more weeks pretty much puts Caitlin Clark to coming back at the very end of the regular season. If you look at the Indiana Fever's schedule right now, they only have 12 games left, and there's exactly 4 weeks left in the regular season. And the craziest thing about this last groin injury with Caitlin Clark is how it's been covered. The day after she had the groin injury, she was listed as day-to-day, and then a couple weeks after that, then she was listed to being out indefinitely.
Because here's the unfiltered truth without Clark. National interest in the Fever and the WNBA falls off a cliff. Fans aren't tuning in for Stephanie White's sideline scribbles. They're not showing up for slow, sloppy basketball. And they're definitely not lining up to watch the three-ring circus that passes for WNBA officials.
Any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, "Hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit?"
So, what's the league's next move? Desperation mode. The whispers start. Hey Fever, maybe tease a Caitlin Clark return to juice the numbers. Drop hints without delivering. It's straight from the PR survival manual. Keep the audience on the hook, even if it's smoke and mirrors. But here's the catch. Clark's injury isn't one you rush back from unless you're okay with rain jury or long-term damage. And maybe, just maybe, if the league had done its job protecting her from constant targeting, cheap shots, and blatant no-calls, we wouldn't even be here. Instead, the refs treat her like an uninvited walk-on at an open gym.
As I gotta tell you, in 2 of these other games I'm going to show you, it is bad back in WNBA territory of where they were like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. I saw these ratings and was like, you got to be joking. It's not a joke. Pay us what you owe us.
And don't think this only tanks Fever games, it's killing the rest of the league too. Sun vs Sky, 180,000 viewers. Dream vs Mercury, 160,000. If the WNBA's growth was anywhere near what the league office brags about, those games would be clearing 400K easily, maybe 500K. But without the Caitlin Clark stimulus package, they can't even sniff 200K. That's what Clark is, a walking economic boost for the entire league. She plays, numbers soar. She sits, numbers crater. And the league can't act like they didn't see it coming. The red flags were there from day one. Your most valuable ratings asset is taking harder shots than an NFL wide receiver and getting fewer whistles than a spam caller in airplane mode. No calls for landing space violations. No calls for arm grabs on drives. No calls for blatant hacks at the rim. If Clark got the same whistle Paige Buchers enjoys in college, I think she'd still be playing and the Fever would probably be sitting as a top 3 seed. We wouldn't even be talking about a ratings freefall in August.
If you fail to protect your stars, Caitlin Clark, if you fail to protect your stars, sometimes they might not be around all the time. Sometimes they might get nicked up. Sometimes they might get dinged up. And sometimes they might get a soft tissue injury that takes weeks, if not months, to correctly heal. And that's the predicament the WNBA now finds themselves in. Caitlin Clark has been out a month and 1 day.
Instead, the bubble's leaking fast. Owners are staring at those charts and feeling the walls close in. You don't need an NBA analytics team to see it from 3.1 million highs to 1.3 million lows. With NBA TV games barely cracking 200K, the slope is steep and ugly without the one player they should be guarding like crown jewels. And here's the scary part. This isn't just about now. Every week Clark sits, casual fans drift away. They find something else to watch, and once that habit's gone, good luck getting it back. Especially when the replacement product is a lineup of players most casual viewers couldn't identify even if you gave them multiple choice answers. The WNBA's marketing strategy is Clark and other people newsflash. The other people part isn't selling.
Have officially regressed. We have went way backwards, which is slightly above the average national TV viewership for Fever games this year. But it also is the least watched of the 8 Chicago and Indiana games since 2024. Look at this, folks.
Networks don't want to hear. Just wait until she's healthy. ESPN, CBS, ABC, they're paying for consistent numbers. If viewership evaporates every time Clark's not on the floor, they start asking how many games they'll even bother committing to next year. If you're a network exec, why invest in a product that collapses the moment one player sits out? That's not sustainable, and it sure doesn't give the league any leverage when it's time to negotiate the next TV deal.
Just yesterday, she was listed as a game time decision for today's game against the Dallas Wings. And then after practice yesterday, Coach Stephanie White basically came out and said, like, no, Caitlin Clark hasn't even been practicing. So they changed it from a game time decision to her being out. This has been all over the place.
The owners aren't blind to what's happening, and neither is the league. But instead of fixing the real problem, actually protecting the one player holding the whole thing up, they're running the oldest hustle in the sports PR playbook, the fake game time decision tease. It's like dangling a steak in front of a starving dog when you know the plate's empty. Fans have seen this trick before. It works once, maybe twice, before the crowd catches on and refuses to play along. And nothing kills credibility and ratings faster than making people feel like you conned them just for a quick hit of attention.